Hey guys, it's Roast here with a video on Realm of the Mad God. I wanted to quickly go over all the things a new player needs to know, since as Josh Shive Hayes pointed out in a recent video, the new player experience can be pretty tough in Realm of the Mad God. In this video, I'll cover a basic intro to the game, what your main goals will be, how to achieve those main goals in their own sections, what communities in the game are like, what Endgame looks like, and some helpful keybinds and settings to turn on. Feel free to check out the timestamps in the description to skip to the part you want to hear. Remember to like and sub if you enjoy. Without further ado, let's get started by covering some of the basics of Realm of the Mad God. To start off with, you run through the tutorial and are dropped off in the Nexus. A quick breakdown of everything important here. The gold doors lead to your vault, where you can store goodies between characters. The blue and green portal leads to your pet yard, which holds your pets. The brown doors lead to your guild hall, if you are in one, which is useful for getting HP pots. I'll talk about that later. If you go north on the minimap, you'll see the daily quest room, and if you continue, which has your daily quests and your daily login rewards, and if you continue north, you'll find the realm portals, which is where the main game actually takes place. Pretty much everything else in the Nexus is a shop, so feel free to ignore it. Once you go through a realm portal, like Ogre, Beholder, Kraken, Bat, Death Mage, whatever, the game properly begins. You'll spawn into one of the beach zones, which is a low-level area where you can get an understanding of basic game mechanics. A good idea is to gather basic HP potions and mana potions for when you need them, and drag them to their slots. The F and V hotkeys are the default buttons to use those. There are 4 zones in Realm. There's the lowlands, like the beach you spawned in, the midlands, which are a little bit more difficult but still relatively easy, the highlands, which are pretty difficult but not endgame, and the Godlands, which are going to be where you will be grinding most of your endgame stuff out at. And obviously these places will increase in difficulty as you go, but they'll also increase their loot tables, and you'll also get better dungeons as you go along. Generally, the closer to the center of the minimap you are when you're zoomed all the way out, the more dangerous and the more lucrative the area you are in. The simplest progression, and what I would recommend for the newest players for the first couple times through, is to work your way towards the Godlands as you feel comfortable, following the large red box on your screen indicating an enemy you should be able to handle up to about level 15. And I say up to about level 15 because at around that point, the game will start to point you towards world bosses instead of your regular enemies. If you prefer to rush to 20, the fastest ways are to do dungeons whenever possible, or the absolute fastest way is to teleport straight to the Godlands and to rely on nearby players killing gods to give you tons of experience super quickly. Be very cautious when doing the second method, because the Godlands are really dangerous if you're a low level player, as in like 2 bullets will kill you, and it's still dangerous if you don't know shot patterns. So for more early beginner questions, check out Rotmg, which is a website with tons of info on Realm of the Mad God, or hit escape and view the journal for a whole bunch more info in-game. With that said, let's move on to the main goals and how you can achieve them. In Realm, the basic main goal is to get as strong as you possibly can. You do this first by leveling to 20. Once there, your focus will shift to gearing up and maxing out your stats. The gear system follows a simple tier system, where higher tiers are more valuable, like tier 1 is not as good as tier 5, and endgame loot comes in sets that are either untiered or set tiered, and those untiered and set tiered items will reflect playstyles more. Untiered items are high leveled, but don't go in any sets, and set tiers are going to be high leveled items that also have set bonuses when you get the whole set together and equipped. As you do these things, you'll store extra goodies or unusable goodies in the vault for other characters. But with those basic goals covered, let's move on to getting that gear we just talked about. In order to get the loot and the stat potions, you'll need to do various dungeons and quests in Realm. The daily quests can be grabbed from the Tinkerer in the daily quest room, and he will usually want several marks, which you get from defeating dungeons. Certain dungeons also drop stat potions, so if you've hit 20 and are ready to start farming those, the first 3 easiest ones to do are the Snake Pits, which give you movement speed, which is obviously movement speed, Sprite Worlds, which give you dexterity, which increases your fire rate, and the Abyss of Demons, which gives you vitality potions, which increase your healing, and also rarely drop defense potions, which decreases the amount of damage you take when you get hit. These are the easier dungeons, so they won't drop as good loot, but they rarely will drop high tier loot. and they will also get your stats high enough for you to do harder dungeons later on without dying. If you can do those in your daily quests, always try to do them since the rewards can be super valuable. But yeah, with the gear covered, let's move on to pets. Pet eggs will rarely drop from dungeon bosses and from enemies in the Godlands. Your goal should be to get a pet with heal, magic heal, and electric or decoy, in that order. The reason we want this order of heal, magic heal, and then some third skill is because that's the order that these skills level and unlock, and we want heal maxed as soon as possible. You also, like I said, you won't unlock the second and third skills until you get your pet to a higher rarity, so even if you put a lot of time in Realm of the Mad God, you won't get that third skill for 50-ish hours, maybe not that long, but it'll take a long time to get the third skill, so don't count on that one right away. So yeah, again, don't do electric heal, magic heal. It's not a pet worth saving unless you can immediately boost it to that third step. Once you have a pet that is heal, magic heal, and then electric or decoy, because those are the best two third skills to have, although it really doesn't matter as long as you have heal and magic heal in the first two. Feed it to max. Trying to use items that are only 150 feed power and higher, because otherwise it will cost a really large amount of fame. And then to fuse that pet to a higher rarity and unlock its other abilities, you'll need more pets of equal rarity and in the same family. But before you fuse it, you need to know two things. One, that second pet's abilities do not matter. They won't transfer or anything, so they don't matter at all. What does matter is that you max that second pet out before you fuse it. Because if you don't max the second pet out before you fuse it, the second pet the fused pet's abilities won't be able to go as high. So when you start at common, abilities max out at 30. If you fuse max, uncommon abilities max out at 50. If you don't fuse max, your abilities will max out at like 40 or 30 or some lower value. So make sure you fuse max, because if you don't, you're going to sell yourself short and you're just going to have a bad time. So max out both pets before you fuse, always. Okay? That's really all you need to do on pets, so that covered, let's talk about the community. In Realm, there are a couple ways to stay in touch. The simplest way is by locking players you want to stick with. This makes them always visible in the bottom right so you can easily teleport or whisper them. You can also add friends in-game to keep in touch. The default keybind for this is J. Lastly, you can create guilds and decorate guild halls with allies. This arguably has the most use because if you enter the guild hall and type HP, the NPC there will give you HP and mana pots to top up on. This is super useful. Use this if you can. If you're looking community outside of the game, there are a bunch of those too, and these are going to be primarily done via Discord. And these are also usually oriented around the endgame dungeons. That said, I'm going to link a couple of these in the description below. I've got mine linked first. It's the Beefy Boys Discord. We play Realm of the Mad God, we play League of Legends, we play Minecraft, we play Terraria, we play all sorts of games in there. Feel free to come hang out, vibe. That's what stream announcements are. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 7 to 11 p.m. I'd love if y'all could come hang out. But if you're looking for Realm of the Mad God Discords in specific, I've got that linked as well, okay? So check those out. But with that said, I think that's a good way to jump to one of the later segments for today's video, and that is what Endgame in Realm of the Mad God looks like. Endgame in Realm takes place in the hardest but most lucrative dungeons, and arguably the coolest looking and the best designed dungeons. These dungeons have the monsters that will inflict crazy status effects, they'll have ridiculous shot patterns, and they will hit hard enough to put even the strongest characters down with just one blast. But these dungeons also drop the best gear, and given changes made in Realm Exalted, when you complete them enough times, they will give your characters permanent stat boosts that persist through death, which is a really cool change. I also want to talk about stat changes, but I've recorded that on a previous mic, so I'm going to swap to that clip now, and yeah, take over me. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Keep beefy, boys. The last thing I want to talk to you guys today about are important options that can really help you in Realm of the Mad God. So I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes when you're out in the world, you will run into the issue of you can't tell if the boss is shooting at you or if you're in danger or not. and the easiest way to help avoid those bullets is to go into options. So it's under gameplay. Go to gameplay, go to opacity, and turn it down. I turned it down to 50%, and then I died for it, so I turned it down to 10%. I put my player on top, I have guild members off, I have locked players off, but I have everything else on. So all of the other players' projectiles are off, or at least like they're super low visibility, so I don't see them. And this makes dodging, like when I fight Oryx in his castle, it is so much easier to see his projectiles and dodge things, because before this, there's so many things flying around, and it's almost impossible to tell, like, is that deadly? Is that a friendly projectile? Is it a hostile projectile? And so just turning this is like the single most important setting to me, period, is gameplay, opacity, 10%. It's huge, like, it's huge. Another nice thing that I haven't messed with a lot, but I will probably do soon, because it hasn't killed me yet, but it may soon do that, is camera rotation speed, and that is, when you're trying to rotate quickly during boss fights, you use Q and E to move your camera around, and sometimes it's not quick enough. And like I've fought some bosses where I need to be like, my little tiny adjustments need to be a little bit faster, and that's also under gameplay. So yeah, most of these gameplay settings, the most important one is opacity. All these I leave about the same. But another nice one you can do to help avoid bots is turn on the star requirement. I guess 2 stars isn't a bad one. Before when I looked at this, it was I only saw the 10 option, but 2 stars I'm fine with. I remember I didn't have this on because I had friends who I was getting to join, and I didn't want to accidentally miss them, so I'll leave it at 1. That should be easy for them to hit. But yeah, then go to your controls and just look at your hotkeys and make sure they're ones that make sense for you. So like, my Nexus button is my R key, because that's really easy for me to hit. My potion button is my F key, my health potion, because that's, again, super easy. My mana potion, V, so my health potion, mana potion, and Nexus are all right next to each other, really easy for me to hit if I need to. My auto fire button, I changed it, so if I want to change it on the fly, I can do that before, because by default it's I, and that's kind of out of the way, and if you just want to turn it on and leave it on, it's not a big deal, but I don't like to have it on. Like, when I'm in the Nexus, I don't want it just blasting away, so I have it on my mouse, and I can mess with it as need be there. But yeah, just look at your toggles, make sure they're good, and then I have, most of these are about the same, I think. Yeah, most of these are all, controls are about untouched, but on video, you can mess with your cursor. Like, if you're having trouble spotting your cursor on whatever background it is, you can mess with it a little bit. I really like this one, personally. I like it. You can change the default camera angle, your resolution, your viewing mode, all kinds of stuff. But things that I really like to add personally, I loved adding this show fame gain right here. This is really nice because when I do get fame, it shows me just like a little +1 fame or +20, and that's really nice because it shows me, oh, I'm gaining fame, because previously I never really saw it, and so like, did I get fame, did I not get fame, I never really noticed it, and this was really nice. And then this one, toggle pots to max text, that was super nice as well. It really helped with making sure that I knew how many more I needed to get to max. And I'll show what that looks like in just a second. I just want to, well, I guess I'm on video, brain, don't forget that. What that looks like is when you mouse over your attributes, you'll see like it has 36, and the little bar for attack, it has 36, and then the bar, and then 17. So I need 17 more attack pots till I'm maxed out on attack. And then if I go back to options, video, scroll down back to where I was, you can also do things like turn off particles really easily, and I have actually done this because it improves your performance in some areas, and there's actually currently a couple like dungeons, like I think actually Mad Labs in its entirety, you have to have particles off or it just doesn't work. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But this isn't really like, you don't really lose anything from the game by turning this off, so it's all good. But yeah, those are just some quick settings you can mess with, and also if the music gets a little bit crazy, just turn it down a bit. Play weapon sounds, you know, if you get tired of that, you can just turn it off. So yeah, that wraps up my video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you do get Realm of the Mad God, let me know. If you guys want some more Realm of the Mad God videos, I can try and make some. I'm still relatively new to the scene, but I've enjoyed it a lot, and I could totally see myself making more videos because it's been really fun. But with that said, I'm going to end off today's video. I hope to see you guys in the stream. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 7 to 11 p.m. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. See you in the next video. Remember to keep it beefy, boys.